It was in the 1980s when we saw the amazing phenomenon which is the company car really take off. Travelling around the country for sales reps became the norm, and they wanted a car which was comfortable, reliable and had a hook in the back to hang their jackets on. In 1982, Ford launched their, at the time, very radical Sierra. Vauxhall had no match for it. They had the original shape Cavalier. So they responded in 1988 with their new Cavalier. Whilst the Cavalier may not be the epitome of style and grace, it does a job and does it very well. And that's the car that we're looking at this week. Now, most Cavaliers have at some stage in their lives been company cars, and so they've been generally well looked after. Fancy this? Well, it's a 1.8 LS, 5-door automatic, done a high mileage over 90,000 miles, but it could be yours for less than £2,000. And because it's been a company car in the past, it's got a full service record to go with it. Comfortable, reliable, inexpensive to run. This 1.8 LS model gets alloys, power steering, electric windows, central locking and a glass sunroof. It's roomy for passengers and it gets a decent boot. Cars like this, which have spent much of their lives trekking up and down motorways, will inevitably have a bonnet full of stone chips, and this one's certainly no different, as you can see here. But it's relatively easy and cheap to sort them out with some touch-up paint. Finding the right Cavalier is probably the most difficult part because there are so many different models, engines and special editions to choose from. Engine-wise, well, you've got petrol starting with the underpowered 1.4, which we wouldn't recommend, to the 2.5 V6, which we would. There are also 1.7 turbo diesel options to choose from as well. So here's a few ideas of prices for a Cavalier. A 1.6 Envoy K-Reg with 73,000 miles for £2,000. The top of the range 2-litre CDX fully loaded. We've seen a 50,000 mile car on an M plate for less than £4,000. Or perhaps in our view the best of the bunch, the 2-litre SRI, fast and looks good. An L-Reg with 65,000 miles should cost £2,500. Okay, the Cavalier might not be the car that Formula One race drivers would choose to own, but for you and me, it's perfectly adequate. Perhaps the car's biggest letdown is the chassis, which makes the car feel rather stodgy and vague on fast country roads. Vauxhall also attempted in 1993 to go down the boy racer route when they introduced the Cavalier 4x4 Turbo. In reality, it didn't catch on and was dropped after a year. And on the used car market, those are probably the ones to avoid because anything that goes wrong is likely to be costly. Now, clocking can be a big problem on the Cavaliers, so look out for the telltale signs like excessive wear on the steering wheel, the seats and the pedals. If you're unsure about the car, simply walk away because there are plenty more to choose from.